Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, Vortic here, and welcome back to another episode of review and commentary, kinda but not really. Now before we start, you may be wondering two things. Number one, what's the series all about? Well boys, Review and Commentary KBNR is basically the series where we watch random stuff together and I provide some of my thoughts and commentary throughout the show. But then we season it with a little bit of jokes, a little bit of homemade memes, and a lot of cringe. Now that's the Vortic Krabby Patty formula. Now kids, this ain't no full-on in-depth review, nor is it gonna be a full-blown serious discussion. We about to hold it up, cause we dabbling in bits of both with no commitment, just like all relationships in 2020. We're just out here trying to have fun and have a good time. Number 2. What do you mean welcome back to another episode? This is your first video. Well, let's just say NBC is being a little bit now with their copyright claims, so if that doesn't get sorted out, then welcome to the reboot of me losing my YouTube virginity once again. If you're still watching this right now, thank you very much for being here and welcome to the channel. Just sit back, relax, get comfortable, get naked, and let's just dive in. Alright, today we are watching the first 3 episodes of The Boys, Season 2 on Amazon Prime. Now I've never read any of the comics, but I've been a huge fan of the show since it came out. I mean dude, the sheer concept of superheroes that are grounded in realism and not your traditional good guys versus bad guys, whew, now that's my kink. I'm very excited for Season 2. I'm anticipating some high adrenaline, high octane craziness from my boys Huey, Billy, Frenchie, MM and Squad. So I'll be making this video only covering the first 3 episodes and I'll make a follow-up video once the last episode is out to wrap things up. So stay tuned for that lads. So just a heads up, the thing about Amazon Prime is that you can't really take any screenshots or record any clips. So I'm just gonna do my best and narrate over whatever I can find. And to start it off, I think we need to address the elephant in the room. Kimiko is best girl in the show. This ain't up for debate son. Just look at the way she smiles when Huey compliments her 12 minutes into the show. Now we know why Frenchie be simping hard for a girl he can't even speak to. She protect, she attack, but most importantly, Frenchie got her back. Okay guys, I wanna know your thoughts on this one. See, I was all for the relationship between Starlight and Huey, and I still am. But how would you get over the fact that their relationship was fundamentally grounded upon lies? Like, I get the fact that Huey had the right intentions, but still, if you were Starlight, how could you ever learn to trust him again after everything he's done? You can tell there's still a lot of resentment towards him because of it.
He's an actor who didn't lie to my face every day.
Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Like, what would you do if you found out your partner had been lying to you and was in ISIS or something? Give me your answers in the comments. Be as creative as possible.
Yeah, well, I happen to know that milk helps build strong bones, so drink up.
Got milk.
Man, this scene was so brutal. So Blind Spot is obviously inspired by Daredevil, right? He's a hero that's blind but his other senses are incredibly heightened. So I just have one question on this. Do you guys think that Compound V made him blind and he was just super unlucky? Or was he originally blind? Because all superpowers come from Compound V, but no other superhero so far has any major drawback to having powers, unlike Blind Spot here. So if you think about it, it must really suck to be him because theoretically he could have just had heightened senses without being blind and he'd basically just be Black Noir. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is this. Vaccines may not cause autism, but Compound V may cause blindness. Stay woke, sheeple.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
For an extra grand, I'll let you chop off my dick.
What's her name from the Hunger Games? Katniss.
Pretty convenient for you to forget, considering you yourself were in the Hunger Games. Marvel? Okay, so we are at the scene where Starlight is blackmailing Gecko after secretly recording him do some pretty nasty stuff, and obviously he's not happy. But I just have to say, Look, I ain't gonna victim shame anyone. But this is on you, Gecko. If you're gonna get a cheap motel and not close the curtains, you gotta be ready for your church alumni to come blackmail you in the coffee shop the very next morning. It is what it is. On a more serious note, guys, I just have to say scenes like these are why I love The Boys. I really respect the fact that they were given so much creative freedom and were allowed to just take off the brakes and let loose sheer high-octane craziness for the audience to enjoy. And I'm not saying that just because it's gory. In fact, I think a lot of shows like Saw, overdo the violence just for shock value. But I think The Boys offers so much more than that. And my point is that the fact that they are not held back from this aspect just gives them the extra edge over other superhero TV shows. Anyways, on to episode 2. Okay, so I've been enjoying the storyline involving Deep's somewhat of a redemption and his journey trying to find himself, and I'm quite interested to see how the storyline with the Church of the Collective develops, which I will get to later on. But I think we all need to just take a step back and truly appreciate the beauty of Deep's ability to construct sentences at a 4th grade level. Now, remember I said it was difficult to get recordings from Amazon Prime? Well, I've done my best to reconstruct this whole scene to encapsulate its essence for all of you, and I will show it to you within the next 2 seconds of this video, so please smash that like button for this effort. And there we go. You're welcome. Why did this scene just encapsulate my entire dating life in just 2 sentences? I feel personally attacked right now. So we're at this scene where Starlight and Stormfront are being interviewed by all these various news stations and shows, and I felt it did touch on a topic that I found was quite interesting. So in this scene, Starlight and Stormfront are repeatedly asked the same questions, such as, are they single, or telling them to say strong is the new pretty, which are pretty obviously sexist. But I feel this is a somewhat accurate take on real life because I've seen quite a number of female celebrities, especially athletes, get asked like really stupid questions that their male counterparts wouldn't get asked, such as, what are they wearing, or talking about their weight instead of actually having more interesting questions. So I thought this was quite cool of the show to further highlight the hypocrisy of the media right now. Anyways, these are just my thoughts. I would love to hear more from you guys on what you guys think.
What'd you just put in your boot?
Why don't you tell me what's in my boot?
There's a snake in my boot.
Dude, I love how nobody cares at all that this woman was literally smashed right into their car. Like, everyone just continues going on about their day. Not only are they not calling the cops, they're not even running away. They're just like, yeah, whatever. Ain't my business. Take note, Karens. Guys, don't you think this is such an accurate representation of what goes on behind the scenes in corporate Disney whenever they try and make another live action reboot?
I just have a few headlines. Yeah, it's not really tweaks, it's more global.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe.
Oh wait!
Buddy, it's okay.
Yo guys, I gotta be honest here. This made me feel a little uncomfortable. Like, I get that Frenchie is really into Kimiko and he really wants to learn how to communicate with her. I get that, and I'm all for that. But the way he is trying to get Kenji to teach him by only feeding him on the condition that Kenji teaches him, I don't know, feels kinda like a dick move? What do you guys think? I get that Deep is like Aquaman, where he really does care about the ocean and fishes, probably more so than he cares about humans, and he's all about protecting fishes and all that. But at some point, we have to look at his track record and ask ourselves, is he really doing a good job? Look, I'm just saying, if I was a fish, I would not feel comfortable or safe being around him. I mean, statistically speaking, 100% of dolphins who have been in his car have died. Okay, this scene kinda irritated me a little bit. Let me explain why. Spoiler alert, but if you're this far into the video, you probably should have known that by now. So basically, Kimiko comes up behind Stormfront and just smacks her to the wall, then runs away. And we obviously know Stormfront catches up and gives Kenji a helping hand. But the real question here is, why didn't Kimiko, like, snap Stormfront's head like she did to that old Asian dude in the costume store? And before you come at me saying, oh, Stormfront has super strength and is super durable, blah blah blah, Kimiko is super strong as well. And we've seen instances where superheroes with super durability still die, just like how Black Noir cut off Nakeev's head. So it wouldn't be outside the realms of possibilities for Kimiko to do something similar to Stormfront. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, she probably could have done more. Rest in peace, Kenji. Alright, so that's the end of the random memes and commentary portion of the video. So let's move on to the reviews. Okay, let's start with the shortest bit. Sound. Now I like the fact they got the actress for Starlight. Erin, I'm probably just gonna butcher her last name, so I'm not gonna say it. But I like the fact she sang a number of the songs in the show, which was pretty cool. There's a lot of Billy Joel in there as well, which is always a fun time, and it just syncs well with Huey's vibe. I think there were a few snippets as well where I thought the song choices were pretty well utilized. Like when they played Iris by Goo Goo Dolls during one of the scenes where the Deep was busy finding himself with his girls. Overall the soundtrack was genuinely well done, and I have no complaints from that front. Now let's move on to cinematography. The Boys Season 2 maintains that dark, undersaturated color palette it had in Season 1, which I like to think is a direct critique to the DC Justice League franchise. And you do get used to it, It isn't as glaring as Batman vs Superman, so no complaints there. When it comes to filming, I didn't find any of the shots particularly amazing. It just got the job done. Now when it comes to special effects though, this was generally a hit with a few misses. Most of the special effects were great, they're very believable, and some even had great use of props, such as the whole whale scene in episode 3. But there were some instances where the special effects were just not at the same standard as the rest of the show, like the scenes with the sharks chasing the boys on the boat. But overall, special effects team did great. They should definitely pat themselves on the back for their work. You can tell they've worked hard, but maybe more on some scenes than the others. I guess in fairness, it's only because some scenes were so well done, it made the other less well done scenes look more noticeable. Now let's talk about acting. Acting was great all around. Every character felt real, they felt believable, they're generally either likable or just completely batshit insane to the point you just don't know what they're gonna do next. You just get so invested in them. And once again, Anthony Starr as Homelander takes the cake. He's such a phenomenal actor on this show, and the scenes with Milk, wow, he definitely deserves an Emmy. It just made me feel so uncomfortable, I loved it. The kid actor was pretty decent as well, which is pretty rare to find. I'm not gonna be too critical of him, but I did enjoy the way he just exploded onto Homelander. That was pretty fun. Now let's get to the writing and the story, because let's face it, it's the intelligent writing that truly makes The Boys such an amazing show. In my opinion, The Boys is so successful not because it has the most powerful superheroes, but because it's mainly a critique on the superhero genre as a whole, and in fact, so many other things as well. It provides a deeper commentary on various talking points such as the dark side of corporations, propaganda, politics, mental health, sexism, so much more. It's incredibly thought-provoking, and it leaves you drawing parallels with what goes on in the real world. But it's done that in quite a subtle way where it doesn't feel like they're just shoving a message down your throat. Now bringing it back specifically to Season 2, I'm very interested to see how a number of these plotlines develop, such as the relationship between Homelander and his son. It's so interesting to see how, Homelander, who is essentially this god-like creature, tries so hard to connect with his son because he feels as if his son is the only person that will understand him. You can feel the loneliness Homelander's felt throughout his childhood and the internal struggles he currently faces, alternating between this unsympathetic adult worshipped by all and the inner child inside of him yearning for affection. In fact, I feel this gives more perspectives into the scenes in Season 1 involving Homelander and Madeline Stillwell. Separately, I'm always curious to see how the dynamics between Homelander and the other heroes work out. Like, we know that most of the heroes are afraid of Homelander, except maybe Stormfront right now. But I always wondered, whether Homelander was on good terms with Black Noir or Translucent, for example. Or did he treat them like how he treats A-Train and the Deep? And speaking of the Deep, I'm also quite interested in seeing his emotional journey that he's going through with the church. I find the concept that the source of him abusing women stemming from his own insecurities because of his girls You know, it's quite an interesting take on this matter. Like, it provides a deeper depth to the character, no pun intended, which I appreciate, and it gives some insight and backstory as to why, you know, some people abuse others. Now, in terms of criticisms, I think one of the only criticisms I have is that the environment in some scenes where a lot of actions take place, it just felt very empty to me. You know, scenes like when the boys were like chasing Kenji and Kimiko gets smashed onto a car, or when Stormfront is wreaking havoc all over the apartments and, you know, also chasing Kenji. You know, I would have liked to see a larger crowd of people gather to take videos, you know, or at least try to run away or figure out what was going on. Like, I understand it's probably quite difficult to coordinate this or to film something like that, but one of the major reasons I love The Boys is that it's a show that does its best to portray realism, you know, and show its audience that actions do have major consequences. But in some of these scenes, I felt, you know, it fell short of that. Now, in terms of what I'm expecting throughout the rest of the season, I'm quite curious to see how the relationship between Stormfront and Homelander plays out, because everyone tends to bend over backwards for Homelander, and he's basically had everything almost handed to him on a silver platter. But Stormfront is like the first superhero in VOD that is actively going against the status quo, which will obviously upset Homelander. I like to think that the fact they made Stormfront a woman as well adds an extra layer of depth, because I'm confident it makes her more intimidating to Homelander, who is quite sexist in general. You know, I suspect a showdown between the two coming up in the horizon, and Homelander may be overthrown. I'm also interested in seeing how the relationship between Homelander and his son develops, because I foresee his son starting to really step up and defy Homelander in hopes of protecting his mom, you know, Becca, and he could maybe start to become the true superhero Homelander was supposed to be. Anyways, to wrap it up, I expected high adrenaline, high octane action from the very first few episodes of The Boys, and it has definitely delivered. You know, I really enjoyed my time watching the show, and there's so much more to explore this season. And I'm very interested to see how these plotlines and, you know, character dynamics continue to develop. It's a great show, and I'm not ashamed to say that I am hooked onto season 2 as I was for season 1. So yeah, first 3 episodes, 8.5 out of 10. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching this, and I hope you guys had a good time. I'm so sorry for doing this, but if you did enjoy this video and would like to see more, please leave a like and subscribe, because it would mean the world to me. If you didn't like this video, tell me why in the comments, and subscribe anyways, because why not? So yeah, hope you guys have a great day ahead, and I'll see you next time.